Old-fashioned farming methods tend to like to have a straight ditch sucking all the water off the land, and that's the way they like to drain the land. But it is much more efficient to slow down that journey. Okay, drain the land you need to drain for growing things on, but instead of having the water going down a straight ditch, straight into the river, straight out into the sea, have it instead going down what was the wettest parts of the land, going into sort of a bendy channel into a sequence of ponds, and slowing down its journey immensely and trapping huge volumes of it in ponds, so that instead of all that water being chucked away when it's wet, it's storing it for when it's dry. And having the water there sitting there in ponds, it is filtering slowly into the water table and keeping the water table topped up. So by doing this, you still drain your land for growing crops, but you also save loads of water and make your land loads more drought resistant. Here is the main channel of all of the land. This is before it goes into the bottom pond, and it's a big flat-bottomed valley with lots of swamp-loving trees like alders and willows. And then on the sides it sort of slopes up to channel the water where I want it to go. And this is the biggest of all of the channels, and it's been here for quite some time now. Sort of it slopes up that side, and there's like a path above this kind of boggy bit, and this bit here gets very, very kind of squishy a lot of the year, but at the moment it's quite dry. And this main channel consists of this very sort of wide sort of flat bit at the bottom to spread out any kind of runoff rainwater, and make it so it's kind of like has a longer kind of journey going down, and so it doesn't have a narrow channel that can erode like a gully. And then it's all covered in native vegetation to hold it together really well. And then at the sides we've got this really kind of quite a steep side on that side, which is the soil from the first pond we made here, and then we've shaped it into the shape we wanted, and then covered it with about a foot of topsoil. And then this bit here actually faces north, and it's very good for growing snowdrops on. So we have like a snowdrop crop there, and then it's not quite finished, so it's going to have a bank on top of it with a wild hedge on it. And then the other side, which is at this level, this top level here, is the garden. So the garden is way raised up, and it's got a south-facing bank around it, so it sort of traps the sunlight, whereas in the woods this side it's kind of shading it. So it's landscaping kind of provides loads of different things like that, you know, nice high dry sunny garden, and then a nice damp shady woods right next to each other, creating totally different adjoining environments. From the garden side, you can see here the edge of the woods as it is now, but the woods will be brought a little bit more this way, and about here somewhere will be this bank here, about a 4-foot high bank with a native hedge on top of it, making the edge of the woods coming along like that. Any rain that falls this side would go down the driveway and then join that channel we were just in. Anything that falls the other side of the bank would go straight into that channel, but the majority of the rain that falls on the garden will go that way into that big pond, meaning that rainwater has got to take an even longer journey to get around to the bottom pond and into the river and out to sea. So it sort of slows down the journey loads. And the longer the journey of the rainwater across the land, the more chance that water has of soaking in and increasing the groundwater in the water table and improving the drought resistance of your land. But also ponds produce loads and loads of wildlife and loads of drinking water for wild animals, and loads of breeding grounds for amphibians and insects, and you create so much wildlife by having just one pond. So having a whole sequence of ponds is going to be really good. This pond traps loads of rainwater, and it's always a really good reservoir. We've always got water to water everything with, and of course pond water is way more nutritious than tap water, and even in the drier summers there's always still water here. Now this pond overflows down here into like a little valley which gently slopes and goes through the garden around the edge, creating more of a barrier between the woods and the garden, and a nice place where shady things can grow. And then it sort of feeds into that channel we were just in, but the channel goes that way and it goes that way, so it creates more of a kind of a loop. And this sort of valley that goes through the garden isn't as big as the woodland channel, but it's still quite flat-bottomed and meandering, so that the water is spread out and then has way more chance of soaking in. These woodland channels are quite good as well. You've got a kind of big snaking bit of pond going out through the woods, nice and shady. Even more water will have a chance to A, be collected, and B, to soak into the ground. So it sort of extends the area of the pond, or a garden island there, woodland island there. So this bit of the garden is in the pond, that bit of woods is in the pond. So you've got a kind of an overlap between boundaries. And then just down here is where the deep water starts. So when it's full, this is about so deep, thinking about that deep. And it's quite a new pond, so it's still going down quite a bit in the summer, but not as much as it did last year. It's only 2 years old. And in here it's just very, very deep. Very good place for the fish to go if it's really dry. But usually all this is water as well. And it's nice to have all these little woodland channels. As the main drainage valley progresses up the side of the land, it does take in lots of little bits from different areas, so that all the water is drained from where we want it drained, and then going into this long meandering pondy system, which is good. It means we've got the water where we want it, and we've got lots of nice drier areas where we cultivate things. And as this main path snakes up through the land, it too has little outlets where water drains out into various ponds, so it keeps all the bits we want dry and just diverts the water where we want it, but we're still not losing that water and just flushing it out into the river, and then we're sort of vulnerable to drought. So we're all neatly organising the water where we want it to go, leaving the bulk of the land nicely drained and able to be cultivated. And overall, less land is boggy than when we took it on, but the boggy bits are so improved as to create loads more wildlife. But before, this clay soil, it just held the water, it was mushy and gloopy. But now with this way we've got it, we've got like a really big dry areas where we grow fruit trees and gardens and things, and then all the wet is diverted into ponds and boggy bits and drainage channels and things, so it all works really well. And this is the top pond, the first pond we made here, and it's been here for 6 years now. It holds the water really, really well, and it's the first of the ponds in the sequence down through the wooded drainage channel. And whilst this side of the pond opens straight out into orchard, which isn't boggy at all, then this side of it here is woodland, and it has like a drainage channel through it, that same drainage channel, so it's wide, it's boggy, it's off the footpaths where we need to put it in little pipes or little bridges so that it doesn't make any of the paths muddy, and that all works really well. This pond has a woodland channel going around the back of this island. It has loads of little inlets as well, so it's sort of all along the same theme, but the newer, bigger pond is like a bigger version of it, with sort of cultivated garden and orchard sections, whereas this one is nearly all woodland, just one bit of it is orchard. So this is like a nice sort of a hybrid. It's nice to have woodland on the higher bits, because then you've got nutrient and water stored, which then filters through the water table. So it's quite good to have like hilltops and top bits of land as woodland. But anyway, this is the highest pond, and it's really nice and full, and it's really doing wonders for the land and for wildlife, and that's a really good thing. So I hope you liked today's video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and if you press the little me, you can see all my other videos, and I shall see you next time.